Clifton locked himself in his room for an age and beat off to Japanese anime. I'm talking not strictly porn, but action titles and things not even remotely erotic. His mother, who never gained access to his room, often wondered just what he was up to in there. His favorite show was Tookie Tookie Vampire, a show about a young private school pyromaniac who was possessed by hallucinations of the demon Oryoko, who would often put the idea of burning down structures in the young boy's head. He had the entire first season, which ended on a cliffhanger, where the boy Haruko was about to set his school on fire, while a local detective was slowly closing in on him. He had searched the internet and every movie store in town and could find no trace of the second season. Unbeknownst to him, there was no second season. The series creator, Yasunori Inesuka, had died of a massive coronary on the eve of the completion of season 1 and had no successor. He didn't even live to see the airing of the first episode in his own native Japan. Clifton's favorite episode was episode 6, Departure of Dr. Flax, wherein Haruko, under the influence of Oryoko, sets fire to his therapist's office with him still in it. One day Clifton left his house and wandered around in the alley in the back of his house. It didn't take long for Oryoko to appear before him, whispering suggestive evil doings and general havoc. Clifton got a gas can and some matches and went back to the alley. Every day a homeless man would come back there and drink from the mud puddle sprawled out like an animal. So Clifton filled the puddle with gasoline and left a thick trail of the stuff to a small brick garden wall he positioned himself behind. Before long the bum came and laid himself flat and began drinking the poisoned water. Clifton lit a match and with shaking fingers brought it to the trail of gas. It went up with a whoosh and consumed the bum in the blink of an eye. Strangely, he didn't scream, but noisily flopped about, a giant fireball before the laughing and hopelessly insane Clifton. He returned to his room and put in his favorite episode of Tookie Tookie Vampire and pulled his pants down. This is how he was found when Detective Craig Carlson kicked open the door and aimed his weapon at him. To his surprise and disgust, the kid never missed a beat. Apparently a neighbor had seen everything and called it in. The evidence was all close to hand and the young Clifton ended up at a reformatory for the criminally insane. Against his better judgment, one Dr. Samuel Jefferson allowed Clifton to have his Tookie Tookie Vampire tapes in his room. He noticed that Clifton spent an undesirable amount of time watching the same episode over and over while attempting to masturbate, which wasn't possible due to the medications. Then one day, while making rounds, Dr. Jefferson observed a very large shadow moving away from Clifton's room just as he rounded the corner. The thing filled him with a chill, and outside Clifton's room the smell of gasoline pervaded. Other strange mysteries occurred. The smell of gas. A single match found on Jefferson's desk. Episode 6. Episode 6. One day while Clifton was on his recreation period, Dr. Jefferson snuck in to watch episode 6. The show was retarded, but the subject matter on the whole deeply disturbed him. The demon in the show Oryoko was said to coincide with the smell of flammable gas. The shadow that day and the single match. He watched the episode again, purchased his own copy of episode 6 at a local comic store. He watched it all night and ignored his patient records. Eventually he stopped going to work. One morning he sat down to a bowl of cereal and wasn't even alarmed to see Oryoko seated across from him smiling his demon smile. Clifton had been feeling better since the new doctor had taken away his anime tapes, and though at first he was sad that Oryoko didn't visit him anymore, he was starting to improve mentally and even felt remorse for his crime. Soon he was told he'd be able to live at a minimum security prison and be able to visit his mother without observation. He never watched Tookie Vampire again. One morning as he returned from his outdoor recreation period, he walked into the day room and heard a commotion. Some crazy man had one of the on-call nurses in a chokehold and was threatening to light a Zippo in his right hand. He was obviously drenched in gasoline. The crazy man demanded to see Clifton, and he stepped forward realizing that the insane bearded man was former Dr. Samuel Jefferson. Watch episode 3 and look at the billboard in the back